we'll keep going then.
Generally, if I'm at half past at this point, I know.
Figure out what?
Half past the north. We're like, yeah, we're like, well, it doesn't matter. But like, I just like,
Stop.
well, I'm just good. I know at this point, I don't have to rush.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much stop. Keep an eye out, but I can pretty much stop.
Okay. How many do you think? How many stops do you think going back? I think half past here.
Well, I mean, it varies. This is a small group, so we can take longer. You do have a $430 fund, so I'm going to be more conservative. But, like,
And so he drove me up to Whitehorse to fly me to Helena to drive the bus back. And on the drive up there, he said, "How long do you think it's going to take you to drive back?" I said, "Well, let's see. It's 1,800 miles, about 3,500 kilometers. I think it's going to take me 3 weeks to drive back." He said, "I think I'm going to turn off the car." So I made it back in 4 days. But I've been lucky enough, I've done the round trip 3 times before that, coming up from both San Francisco. But that was the first, so that's my 7th leg. But the first time I had somebody else paying for gas and lodging, so it may be my favorite of the trips. So once again, coming up on the right here, the Caribou Crossing, the train bridge. I actually can't see it without the dang risk of running off this bridge. Is the train there now?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. So the train is there. So that's the train came up from Skagway, started the same place we did, although much earlier than we did. So they start about 7 o'clock in the morning. We go roughly twice as fast as the train does. And I'm pretty excited. I work for the train. Friday, I get to take that train from Skagway up here to Carcross. And then I'll head over to Way for lunch and catch a ride back with Jim, our driver, that day. Yeah. That would be.
How much time will we have to get?
Pardon?
How much time will we have to get?
Caribou live here in North America. But that exact same animal, that exact same deer, living in Asia or just Columbia, Klondike, and other places. The grizzly bears, that's when the dandelions are in bloom. And bears love dandelions. In fact, they kind of make them a little stoned. So it's very common during that time of year. We'll see these big meadows of dandelions on the side of the road with the bear just chomping his way along, just grazing his way through all the dandelions. Those are the days we get to come to a stop, take a couple of pictures, and head on again. But I do come up here to Way even on my days off. I like to do hiking in this area. And anytime I go hiking in bear country, whether it's black bears, brown bears, grizzly bears, I always have a bear buddy. So those little dogs like the Queens have, or had, Queen Elizabeth had. And dogs make the best bear buddies in the world because bears find dogs really annoying. Okay, we got somebody on the side of the road. No, doesn't look like he's saying, ooh. Yep, named after a person, a great inventor. He actually, the fellow that invented AC electricity. Actually, I'm going to wait and talk about bears a little later. I did say I'm going to try, well, no, I've got a little bit of time. Alright, so, I always went hiking with a dog as my bear buddy, but I don't have the dog anymore, so now I do have to find a person and a bear buddy. It's somebody that I know I can outrun. Yeah. But whenever I'm hiking in grizzly bear country, I always take my can of bear spray sign off. I want to point out just off to the left, this is the remains from the fire in 2019. You can see the burned out area. That was interesting to drive through here when that was going on. And just up ahead of us a bit on the left, we'll see the bottom, the tramway for the Venus mine. I'll let you know that the headstock of the Venus mine, the frame head, is going to be up on the hill above it. Alright, so sit back, relax, enjoy the beauty of the Yukon. Once again on the Klondike sign. Did anybody want to stop, get a picture taken in front of the Klondike sign? Let me know. Okay. All right.
I see it. I see it there. Okay, cool. Good enough. Sure.
But given a choice, the other boat
like Mega Bucks lottery winners today. Most of those Klondike...
The Brooklyn Bridge?
Like the London Bridge?
No, the Brooklyn Bridge.
The Brooklyn Bridge, oh. Is that done with Klondike money?
Could have been.
Could have been, I don't know.
You have the money on it.
Actually have a deep and personal connection with that bridge. That's another story for another time.
Another state, another country.
Yeah. That's when I need at least 2 pints to tell that story. Not while I'm driving.
Sad.
Yeah, it was said that only 52 of the Klondike Kings died with their fortunes intact. And again, one of those was good old Skookum Jim. So that Skookum Jim Trust that we saw today is still in operation. So a lot of those folks got up there, were told it was too late. Some of them just turned around and went back home. Some of them just stayed there in Dawson City, a city of 20,000 people, lots of jobs. Some of them lived in hope. Mining is all about hope. So some of them went ahead and staked a claim on creeks where the old timers, the sourdoughs, the old. So again, this lake over here, this is Lake Touchai. This is, like most of the lakes we've seen today, this is a glacial rumors of some kind of a cryptocrid, some kind of a monster that lives in Lake Touchai. Now, I'm trying to think, talk, and pay attention to the car behind me at the same time. There's somebody on my bumper right on the pass. This place was still colder than the international bathrooms in the snow. I loved it in early May when I'd take people here because the lake was frozen still. So as I do this turn here, I tell people, look, if you've ever had trouble skipping rocks on a lake, today's your lucky day. So much easier to do when the lake is iced over. All right, so here we are, Lake Touchai. Ooh, and that's my friend Bruce.
What do you think? Sweden.
Sweden.
Norway. We were going there. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, every single time we're in a different country, we jump into one. I'm like, oh my god. Like, well, I click a buzz anyways.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's so scary.
So for those of you who missed that, Adam was just telling us the story how he was camping here on this. So in order to get from San Francisco all the way up to the Klondike Goldfields, you've got to cover all your expenses up there. Plus, again, you have to buy that ton of goods. You have to buy everything you're going to need for a year. Plus, you have to pay customs duty on all of those goods. So really, to grub stake for the Klondike Gold Stampede, you needed between $1,000 and $2,000 in your pocket just to have any chance at all to get up there. So him and his brother-in-law took a steamship up from San Francisco, hike up the White Pass Trail. He makes it up to Dawson City, and like every other stampeder, as soon as he arrives, everybody tells him, "You are too late. All of the good claims have been staked." But Jack London, he's 21, he's full of hope. Mining is all about hope. So he's one of those folks, he went ahead and staked a claim on a creek where the old timer said you'll never find any gold there. But you know what? Jack London proved them wrong. After 3 months of digging in that hard, cold, frozen ground, he managed to pull $4.50 worth of gold out of that creek. So technically enough to prove him wrong, but not enough to be a Klondike King or anything like that. He also, in that 3 months, got himself a really bad case of scurvy. So he packed up his $4.50, collected his brother-in-law, went back down to Oakland, where he started writing stories. Stories about the places he had been. Stories about the people he had seen. And most importantly, stories about the dogs and the wolves that he had met up in the Great White North. So Jack London, of course, most famously known for writing Call of the Wild and White Fang. In just 2 years, he became the highest paid short story author in America. His whole career, very, very successful. He made quite a fortune for himself. Enough so he was able to eventually retire to Glen Ellen in Sonoma Valley, just an hour north of San Francisco, a place I dream of retiring to someday. Built himself a mansion called Wolf House. A nice little vineyard there. Had a good life. So Jack London did find his fortune in the Klondike goldfields. Just not the way he had dreamed. There were a number of other people who made money off the Klondike goldfields without actually finding gold. I think I mentioned earlier, the folks that stayed in Skagway, those were folks that figured out about mining the miners. Much easier to get gold out of somebody's pocket than it is to get gold out of the ground. Probably the most famous story of that, good old Levi Strauss and the California Gold Rush. Gold was discovered in Sutter's Mill, California, January 20th, 1848. Those California Gold Rush, and up ahead where the folks have built the suspension bridge. Now they call this the Yukon Suspension Bridge, though as you're all very aware, we are not in the Yukon. But I guess they just thought that sounded better than BC Suspension Bridge. That sort of stuff's been going on for a long time. Since the days of the gold rush, you've been able to find, well, Klondike in particular, is that idea kind of brings across an idea of something exotic and yet valuable. So you've been able to buy Yukon boots and, of course, the Yukon trucks, SUVs. You could buy Klondike is actually further south than Skagway, Alaska. Yep. But its secret is it's on the Hudson Bay. And so that's where all the seals live. That's where all the polar bears live. All right, so again, on the right-hand side, the west side of Montana Mountain, the train tracks have been coming down at the Lake Bennett. Right at the south shore of Lake Bennett, the White Pass Trail starts, heads towards Skagway. The train tracks are going pretty much right along the trail right through here. Just off to our left, it's going to turn right and head south. So from this moment on, until you get off this bus, the board your driver. Hey, I'm just trying to help folks. Actually, on Friday, I went in and did my little random pee in a bottle routine. Like I said, I've been a driver, professional driver for decades. So I've done a lot of these sort of things. But this is the first time the doctor handed me the paperwork back. Oh, I'm sorry, not a doctor, because we're in Skagway. The nurse practitioner handed me the paper back. It seems I had also been chosen people that are going to fail this. And those people should not be driving. And sure enough, when I went to the police station, talking to the nice officer giving me the test, I said that, and she said, "Yep, we do." The folks in Skagway mining the miners. Some of it was very legitimate work. There's really nice cars. Also a little more illegitimate work. crooked gambling calls, all kinds of scams in Skagway, out and out robbers and murderers. And all of those bad people generally worked for a fella by the name of Soapy Smith. So Jefferson Randolph Smith was a very bad person. He got the nickname Soapy when he was in Denver, working as a con man. He was a con man, he was a thief, he was a murderer, just generally not a good person. But one of the cons he ran in Denver involved taking bars of soap, wrapping money around them, wrapping them up in paper, and then auctioning them off. Because most of the people, in fact all of the people who did not directly work for Soapy as a shill in the audience, found out that their bar of soap, but even though he was such a bad person, he was a very successful con man, because an orphan, Soapy Smith would be the first person to pass the hat around for you. If Skagway had found yourself as a widow or an orphan, the odds were pretty good. It was one of Soapy's gang that made you that way. It was also well known that if you ran out of money, if you were, Soapy knew you didn't have any money. Well, first off, if you didn't have any money, they didn't have any use for you. They were done with you now. You can leave, most probably. So once again, here on our left, Lake Bernard, the lake that gets stocked with the trout, make their way down. We got a bus here, so either the first bus up, wait for the train to come in, or the last one to leave. Kara, we're leaving. Now, when we get to American Customs, it's going to be a little different. Do have an important caveat. I have to start by saying sometimes they will pull over a bus and go through it just to prove that they can. But I'm hoping they're too lazy for that today. Adam and I will have to show our passports. And since you are on the cruise ship, this is one I learned a long time ago. It's my favorite of all of his. It's the story of a boy from a warm climate kept coming up here to the Klondike, the Yukon, even though it's too cold. Doesn't really understand why, but just keeps doing it. This is the cremation of Sam McGee. There's strange things done in the midnight sun by the men that moil for gold. Arctic trails have their secret tales that'll make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see, though he'd often say in his homely way, I'd sooner live in hell. It was Christmas Day, we were making our way over the Dawson Trail. Talk of your cold through the parka's fold and stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd close, then the lashes froze, till sometimes we couldn't see.